In the quiet corners of every human interaction, there exists a dance, one of control and deception. A manipulator thrives where perception blurs between truth and intention. But what happens when that same manipulator becomes the prey, caught in the web they once spun so carefully? The manipulator is not loud, not obvious. They are calculated, soft-spoken, persuasive, fueled by the psychological scent of dominance. To outmaneuver them, one must learn the silent art of reflection, using their own rhythm against them until their confidence begins to tremble. First, understand this: manipulators are architects of insecurity. They see vulnerability as a weapon to wield. But when you mask your emotions, when every response is measured and every silence deliberate, you force them into an unfamiliar battlefield, the unknown. When you sense their control tightening, step back psychologically. Withdraw their favorite fuel, reaction. The manipulator feeds on your emotional energy, deny them this sustenance, and their structure begins to collapse from within. A skilled manipulator will plant seeds of doubt, slowly poisoning your reality. But doubt can be redirected. Subtly mirror their tone and questions back, turning their own tactics into a distorted reflection of themselves, until their confidence begins to waver. Watch their eyes. Behind charm lies calculation, behind kindness, intent. Every manipulator carries a flicker of anxiety when their illusion starts to unravel. That flicker is your gateway to power regained. When they challenge your memory, respond with calm precision. Offer details that seem unimpressed by their version of events. Manipulators thrive on emotional chaos, drown that fire with apathy and surface-level acknowledgement. In dark psychology, emotion is the currency of control. The moment you show indifference, their investment dies. It's not about confrontation, it's about emotional starvation until they are left feeding on silence. The manipulator will sense their slipping control and try harder. They'll apologize, guilt trip, maybe even try affection. Each act is desperation disguised as strategy. Hold steady, your consistency disarms them more than any verbal defense ever could. Your best move is unpredictability. Change rhythms. Pause in conversations. Respond with questions instead of answers. This cognitive disruption unsettles them, they can't script against uncertainty, and soon their confidence falters. Know the weapon of reverse empathy. The manipulator loves to feel misunderstood, so become their quiet listener, make them think you empathize. As they confess their moves, you build a map of their weaknesses piece by piece. Do not expose your awareness too soon. Once the manipulator suspects you see through their facade, they adapt. Maintain your mask, smile when expected, nod when convenient. Let them play their performance while you study every step. Eventually, you'll reach the tipping point, their confusion. They'll start questioning why their usual methods don't work. The silence becomes unbearable for them, they crave the pushback, but none comes. That psychological void is your triumph. Their illusion of superiority begins to crumble. You've shifted the dynamic, now they're reacting to you. In their mind, chaos blooms, and they begin crafting explanations to justify the loss of control they can't quite articulate. Your next step is subtle dominance. Use compliments sparingly, but powerfully, make them question your approval. Uncertainty drives them mad, praise becomes manipulation when used with surgical precision. Control is a mirror. The more they try to read you, the less clarity they find. Speak slowly, let pauses linger like loaded silence. The void forces them inward, battling their insecurities instead of commanding your emotions. Manipulators hate unpredictability because it denies them structure. Change your tempo in texts, calls, or meetings. Pattern disruption is the psychological equivalent of breaking their compass in the dark. Every manipulator relies on narrative control. Rewrite it quietly. When recounting events, distort their timeline ever so slightly, challenging their fabricated memories. They'll begin to doubt their own recollection. Never attack their ego head-on, that's a war you can't win outright. Instead, weaponize subtle disappointment. A quiet sigh or a small disinterested glance tells them they've lost the very influence they crave most, your attention. They'll recognize that shift, that eerie calm surrounding you. Their own reflection will feel alien. For the first time, they'll question whether they were ever really the master, or just another pawn in a deeper game. Behind every manipulator lies fear, fear of exposure, fear of irrelevance. When you sense their retreat, solidify it through detachment. Respond with neutrality, even warmth, but never availability. You've turned invisibility into strength. Where once they held emotional keys, now the locks have shifted shape. They cannot enter your mind anymore, they can only watch the walls they built crumble quietly around them. The irony burns them most, they created the very weapon that destroyed them, psychological manipulation. Every silence they exploited, you now control. Every game they designed, you now dictate. This art carries danger. When you learn to manipulate the manipulator, ethics tremble. The line between justice and vengeance narrows until both faces blur in the same shadowed mirror. Before you master this power, you must question your intent. Dark psychology bends morality, one step too far, and the hunter becomes the hunted once more. The world of manipulation is not for the faint-hearted. It lives in whispers, disguised laughter, half-truths shared across polished tables. It's a silent war, fought beneath the surface of every polite conversation. Learn the anatomy of persuasion, tone, pace, and micro-expressions. Awareness is your armor. The manipulator's control evaporates when their methods are named, dissected, and rendered ordinary through understanding. Always remember, to manipulate a manipulator, you must never seek revenge, you must seek equilibrium. What they crave is dominance, what you give them is indifference. And indifference is the loudest form of rejection. Deep in their psyche, control equals survival. By showing them you function perfectly outside their influence, you erase their significance. That absence is more lethal than confrontation. As they fade from your orbit, their tactics lose effect. They'll test the boundaries one last time, an apology, a misunderstanding, a familiar tone. Deny them reaction, and the game ends silently. What remains afterward is clarity, a cold, empowering silence. You will see how their energy once shaped your world, and how easily control dissolves when awareness takes root. This lesson isn't just for self-defense, it's evolution. In every manipulative exchange, awareness is transformation, turning prey into an apex observer, the quiet ruler of the unseen psychological battlefield. So, the next time you encounter charm that feels a shade too perfect, remember, manipulation thrives where awareness fails. Know the signs, stay deliberate, and control returns to its rightful owner, you. The manipulator's greatest weakness has always been visibility. Once exposed under the bright light of your consciousness, they disintegrate, not dramatically, but silently, like smoke fading into dawn. And so, the circle closes. To manipulate the manipulator is not to destroy, but to unmask, to let them face the hollow reflection of their own design. That is the true power hidden in dark psychology. In the end, you learn something disquieting: every manipulator is simply terrified of a mind they cannot read. The ultimate victory is not dominance, it's silence, conscious, powerful, and free.